Hello, everybody. It is John here, and you are watching, listening, enjoying another episode of Playing Games with Strangers. I am your DM this evening. If you are watching live at the moment, you are only seeing two people in the studio right now. We have Dave Clements.
Hey.
And we have Squid Zerwinski.
What's up?
The rest of everybody are going to be coming in as they come in. So apologize, no introductions for them. Because we are starting a touch early because we have a lot of ground to cover. And
a lot of characters to kill tonight.
I want to spend some time with Callum to start with. So Dave's here as our local podcast tech. He's actually setting us up with new means of watching this. So you guys won't be watching this directly on Riverside for much longer. So we are working on things behind the scenes. I think that's all the announcements I have. Squid, you want to go ahead and do the patron role, being as you are so good at it?
Slowly and steadily stealing a job. I'm
going to call you India.
If you enjoy our show and you want to support us monetarily and not just with your emotional support, which we also need, you should check us out on Patreon. We have patreon.com/playinggameswithstrangers. We have 3 different tier levels for $1, $3, and $5, all of which give you unique benefits and fun things, including the chance to watch us play live, the chance to view videos, our talk show that sporadically happens, and coming up soon, some exclusive one-shots, which a few of our Patreons got picked to play in. Check us out, patreon.com/playinggameswithstrangers.
Do it.
Playing games with strangers, you know there's no danger. So come on in, we're all friends, playing games with strangers. Playing games with strangers, you know there's no danger. So come on in, we're all friends, playing games with strangers. Playing games with strangers, you know there's no danger. So come on in, we're all friends, playing games with strangers. I'm playing games with strangers. I'm playing games with strangers.
We're going to go across the ocean to Callum, who we left on the outskirts of Callum's hometown.
I will head straight to my house.
So Callum, you walk from the outskirts of Palashuk to your house, a small cottage that has a smoke coming from the chimney. Do you just walk in, or do you knock, or...
Oh, I get to the door for a minute and consider knocking, and then I walk in. Slowly. Like I'm worried that I'm not going to find someone there.
Okay. You walk in, you see your mother cooking something over a stove. She turns to look at you, and she squints at you, having a hard time with recognition of who you are.
I think that the most Callum gets out is just saying, "Ma," and then is probably walking over to hug her and weeping.
She takes a step back as you step towards her. She's like, "You look like my boy, but my boy is much younger."
Yeah. A lot's happened.
Is that you, Callum?
He just nods.
Why do you look like you're in your 30s?
I can explain some of it. I don't know.
And aren't you supposed to be off gallivanting with your father? I mean, that was your last message that you sent.
Yeah, like I said, a lot's happened. And I thought you were dead.
I've been here the whole time. I mean, unless there's some lies that your idiot progenitor has put in your head about me dying.
Well, he is dead.
He is dead. He obviously isn't dead. I mean, just look. We've been in the same season for the last God knows how long. And then he,
Mom.
What?
Mommy, can you just hug me?
She just sighs and wraps her arms around you.
He is not going to move for a while. He's going to stay right there.
All right, well, you're here now, and your dad isn't, so tell me about things.
That's a very big question, I guess.
Obviously, you're not with your father, so he must have left you too, so we can start a club.
Well, not quite. I mean, not that I'm his biggest fan, either. And I can't say that meeting him, immediately changed my mind or anything, but I wouldn't be here now if it wasn't for him at the moment.
What are you talking about?
I was dead. Like dead. Gone. Dead. And then I was brought back, not in the best way. And I was gonna be dead again. More permanently and painfully. And he sacrificed himself for me.
Typical. And so he's created this bubble, and we're stuck here. Explains how you got in, so I guess that's something.
Yeah, well, that's the part I'm a little confused about as well, because the dad that I saw died. Gone forever. Joined with my soul or something. I'm not quite sure how it worked. Anyway, but then I got here and there was the bubble, which only I could go through, and not the gnome or halfling. I forget. He was a short one. And then he was here. The man that, drove the cart. My escort, so to speak. His name was David. Fine fella. Anyway, it was... I'll explain. I don't need to explain that. You know how carts work. And then I could come through. But then when I got inside here... Dad was here too, which I'm not fully sure I understand. And then he tried to describe space-time. And I'm not going to lie, I don't think I quite have the mental constitution for that, personally. But
and well, you know what your father is, right?
Yeah, I got a pretty good idea of what he is and how I often saw him to be looking, which was kind of like a horse, which leads me to more questions that I don't want to think about.
No. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about what he is.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think we kind of knew that the whole time based on the whole me having wings thing.
Somehow.
That,
your father is... I think I've kept you in the dark about a few things.
Well, that would be kind of par for the course. I'm finding out about most people in my life.
Your father is... So... Do you know what an aspect is? Or some people might call it an avatar.
I know it pertains to ratios.
Funny. Very funny. My son, the comedian.
You know, when you die almost twice, you gotta find the silver lining somewhere. It's been a rough few years, Ma. As you can tell, it's kind of weird on my face now.
Well...
Oh yeah, this happened in a crypt, by the way. I don't know.
Oh. While you were dead.
No, before.
You were going into crypts before you were dead.
Yes. Well, not to be like put in them as if I were dead, but we were exploring. It's a long time ago. I don't really remember why we were down there, but we opened up a grave thing, whatever they call it. And then this lady made me, age like 20 years. It was rough. It was a rough time. But anyway, you were saying about aspects and avatars and things. I don't carry on.
Well, every force within what is around us has an avatar, an aspect. It's hard to explain. It's like it's like a personified representative. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. No, but keep going.
Your father was the aspect of time.
My father was Father Time.
Well, I mean, if you want to be reductive about it, I suppose, but...
He just is. So hold on. Okay, so a second ago when I said I don't understand, but keep going. I think maybe we should have stuck on that a little longer. So what you're saying is my father is the concept of time.
More the aspect of time. Time exists without him.
But he doesn't exist without time.
Exactly.
I don't think any of us exist without time, actually.
He exists outside of time. He more tends to the time stream, if that makes sense.
Sure.
You could say that he keeps the time stream.
Like a perfect watch.
More like a shepherd.
He tends to time.
Yes.
What does he tend to? Well, he tends to leave is what he does, but never mind.
Well, I mean, he controls its flow. I mean, as you can see, as she looks up towards...
Right, yeah, that makes sense.
I guess, being as I'm pulling out his secrets, I need to pull mine out as well. I'm not exactly...
My mother?
No, I am your mother. I am...
I don't think I could take that hit right now.
No, I am an aspect as well.
Okay.
Granted, I'm not a celestial.
Am I gonna want to know?
I'm human. See, the aspect gets carried on as one aspect passes, another one is replaces it.
So there's a new time aspect now that isn't death.
I don't know, because if you said you saw your father in here, he might...
Yeah, I don't quite understand, because when
time gets weird.
Yeah, I've noticed times have gotten very weird since I've left here.
Yeah, I would imagine so, being as you're aged and you've died and what you are.
Yeah, it's been fun. But back to you now.
I am the aspect of nature.
So there's like plants?
The forces of nature.
Like tornadoes?
Could be.
Or wind?
Yes.
So, okay. Alright, yeah. Uh-huh.
Which leads us to you.
Yeah, I'd like to know how this...
Do you know what nature and time create?
Bad luck?
Some might say so.
Yeah, well...
Are you aware of a force called entropy?
Is that what happens to your muscles when you don't use them?
That's atrophy.
Oh, yeah, alright. Then no idea. Don't have a... You know what nature and time don't create? Intelligence, apparently.
Entropy is basically the tendency for all things to come to disorder. Nature comes to disorder over time.
So, decay.
That's part of entropy, correct.
So kind of like when you don't use your muscles.
A little bit. Usually it happens at such a rate that those who are affected by it have the capacity to adapt over time. But being as you've aged quickly and fell out of the natural order of things by dying, I guess twice now, you said?
Only once. The second time I was just, cursed. And then he stopped it.
Oh.
By a Lord of Hell, which is fun. I should tell you about them later.
Oh.
But that's...
Good. Well, at least you've been busy.
Yeah.
Well, you see...
Are you saying that me dying and getting older has caused things to be in disorder?
That'd be a way of looking at it. That would be my guess, yes.
Okay. Now, when I said that I don't think I could take the hit of you not being my mother, I didn't realize I should probably also preface that I don't think I could take the hit of knowing all this was my fault, because I'm very fragile at the moment. It's been a rough year for me, personally. I don't know how to process that.
You basically went to go find yourself. I figured you would know this by now, that you would have figured this out.
I would imagine that about the time that would have happened is when I died. Then things just got progressively worse, and then the, Lords of Hell and all that.
Lords of Hell
happened.
And all that.
Yeah, casual Friday. Okay. Okay. So how do I get back in order?
I don't know. Entropy exists outside of nature. I mean, it exists along with nature, but nature and entropy are not the same thing. They are not the same forces. It's outside of my realm of understanding.
Who might inhabit that realm?
Like I said, I don't know. I've been holed up here here, because, nothing ever happens here. And apparently how many forces of nature are there? Well, how many forces of existence are there?
Do any of them know?
I don't see why they would. They're not the aspect of entropy.
What?
To be perfectly honest, as you are the aspect of entropy, it would make sense that you don't understand how to control it, because it's chaos in and of itself.
So who's the aspect of, control or order? Because I feel like they could be helpful.
That I don't know. I've not met them.
So you guys don't have, a reunion?
No, we don't have an aspect phone book.
So is this just a thing that is, so to speak? I mean, Da was, he is a celestial and all that, so he could do all that flying about in time thing.
I think that the nature of one's race has to be in somewhat of an agreement with the nature of their aspect. Does that make sense?
Well, that's the first thing you said that I think makes sense.
For instance, I'm human, and humans were created to tend to what the land produced.
Yeah.
And so as a result, it would only make sense that a human would be the aspect of nature.
Right. And I'm weird. And I use that in an affectionate way, kind of. That makes sense to me. Yeah, I'm tracking. So can you just, make it snow?
If I had free reign over our given area, I could. But you're an idiot.
Could you make, a flower grow?
Oh, easily. And she just kind of swirls her hand in the air, and a flower just buds out of the thin air and falls to the ground.
No, I don't think I've said this enough, Ma, but you're pretty cool. So does that mean I can just make things mess up? And that I've probably been making things mess up for a long time without even knowing it? Because that seems like everything in my life makes sense now.
She chuckles and she goes, well, I suppose that's one way of looking at it. And maybe if your father wanted to tell you sooner, but I wanted you to have a normal childhood. And maybe it's on me that a little bit that things are the way they are because I insisted that you not be made aware of your nature.
No, your nature. I'm entropy.
You know what I mean.
Yeah, I know. So he knows. Does Dad know more about it?
I don't know. I haven't talked to your father for several years.
That's fair. That makes sense.
Because he's a useless bum.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Are you tired? I'm tired. I feel like I need a nap now and a drink. Or nap. Both at the same time.
Well, you don't want to drink while you're napping because you could possibly asphyxiate.
Well, if I drank enough, I would take a nap. That's for sure. Also, should have maybe said this sooner. Now I want you to not get angry about this. Just take it with an open mind. So you know how Da was, an angel and whatnot. And, as they are, pretty religious. So I've kind of become religious lately. As well. Just in general, trying it out. I thought it'd be good. But don't think that because I'm, following after him that it's, because I like him better than you, because I don't. If you could have heard the things I said to him.
You're not worshipping your father, are you?
No.
Okay, well.
No. Although I'm led to believe that we do call him father.
Well, that's fine. I mean, I have nothing against religion. I mean, a god did set up the order of nature, so, I mean...
That's fair. Which one set up disorder? Because I'd like to talk to him.
Which one set up disorder? That's hilarious. No, there is... Everything was created at once by one being, so...
Oh, that's what that book said. So it was him. So I just need to go talk to him too.
You can't have a thing without an antithetical thing to be opposite of it. That's what creates balance.
Right.
You can't have order without disorder. You can't have light without darkness.
So what I'm hearing is, I should really go find order. Literally, like the aspect, not just organize.
Well, I mean, should you choose to do so, but I wouldn't even know the first way of even figuring out who or what that is.
Well, so what's the last thing you remembered before this bubble showed up? Because I'm going to guess that he is probably pretty active right now and very angry. Things out there, not orderly.
Well, why don't you tell me about what's going on? I mean, it's just been sunny days here for quite some time. In fact, shortly after your last message to me, and things got a little bit heated, and I said some things maybe I shouldn't have, and
it's all right. So do you know the name Carrick?
No.
I wince. Okay. Right, I didn't hear a goat that time, so it's fine. Never mind. That's not an important part of the story. There's also this other guy, Zeos.
Zeos?
Yeah.
What does he look like?
Oh, horrible. A horrible man. Does horrible things.
I went to
If you say birthday party, I'm leaving the house.
I went to a druid school with a...
Yeah, he was. He was one of those.
Named Zeus.
Yeah, an elf dude.
Yeah. How's he doing?
Well, he's the one that killed me and tortured me for 6 months before he did it, so I would say...
Oh, well then.
Not my favorite man out there. But he serves Carrick, who is like the being that's destroying the world right now, and some cities have been obliterated.
Destroying the world?
Yeah.
I can't say that I've heard anything about the world being destroyed.
Yeah, because you're in here, and it's happening out there. Stuff's rough at the moment.
And you say Zeus killed you?
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure he's the one that brought me back.
Real quick DM note, it was Christopher who killed you, not Zeos.
I'm blaming Zeos. I'm not talking about who put the sword in, all right? Zeos killed me.
I'm just saying.
My mom's not going to know a bugbear named Christopher.
I'm just saying.
Okay. Yeah. So, while it's sunny and wonderful in here, out there's been, giant tentacles from the sky snatching people up and cities going away.
Oh, this cat, he just gets into everything. Shoo! Shoo!
Leave the farm cat alone.
Our cat Barnabas. Okay, well, tentacles from the sky. That doesn't sound like the Zeos I know.
I think that one was Carrick.
Okay. And you said Zeos killed you.
I mean, responsible for, but yeah.
And you said he brought you back in a bad way.
Yeah, he raised me from the dead. I was undead for a while. Dad dying for me is the one that made me not undead, so I'm doing good now.
Undead.
Uh-huh.
So you were a vampire?
No.
A zombie?
No. Maybe? I don't know. I mean, I was sentient. I just had no soul anymore. Or a broken soul. Something like that. I'm gonna go again and say I don't really understand most of what has happened to me. But I experienced all of it in 4D.
I bet Zeos understood who you are and your nature.
Is there a way that, just by looking at someone you can tell, or you have to talk to them? Is there a trick? Do we have a secret handshake?
Did you know about my nature until I told you?
No, but I also didn't know what I was looking for.
She just kind of shrugs and she's like, I mean, if you can figure out a way,
But how did you know mine?
Well, nature and time. Let's think about it here.
If I'd thought about it for 10 years, I wouldn't have come up with that, but...
Well, experience helps as well, and understanding of these things. It sounds like you didn't understand what aspects were in the first place, so...
No. Nope. Mm-mm. I feel like I should go talk to Dad, too. I feel like he might have thoughts.
Well, good luck finding him. He doesn't ever show his face around here. The coward.
Oh, yeah, well, he can... Apparently, things I've learned, he can only go where he's wanted. And if you don't want him, you can make him go away. Which was very helpful in many conversations.
Well, I suppose that makes sense then, because the only good thing he's ever brought into my life was you, so...
Oh, shucks, ma. Yeah, well, okay. Okay, this has been enlightening and terrifying. Don't know that I've enjoyed half of the conversation, but I love that it was with you.
Fair enough. I understand it was a lot to drop on you, and...
Yeah.
Again, I just wanted you to have a normal childhood, is all.
No, I appreciate that. I wish my adulthood had been a little more normal, personally.
Given what we are, that's kind of an impossibility.
Yeah. So what happens if, or, never mind, you said an aspect takes over if one of us is no longer here.
Mm-hmm.
So are there currently 2 aspects of entropy?
Of entropy?
I was dead for a day. I mean, I was fully dead. I died. And, if...
I don't rightly know.
If one of us dies and another one takes over, the idea of there being 2 aspects of entropy could really make sense about what's happening out there, because it is, again, can't stress this enough, rough.
You said you had a fractured soul?
Yeah, something like that, if I remember correctly.
Do you know what part of your soul was taken?
I feel like I do, somewhere in the back of my mind. But boy, do I not remember. I might have it in notes somewhere.
Because if Zeos took your divine aspect,
I can't rightly remember if my father told me that. Hang on one moment. I feel like he told me what part of my soul was missing.
It was your divine aspect.
Oh, then yes. Hey, Ma. Yeah, it was that.
Well, then I would say that, somebody might be withholding your, divine aspect from you. Which, they've taken your piece of entropy.
So can just anyone do that?
I've never heard of that happening before. I didn't even know that was possible.
Yeah, me neither. But I didn't even know this was a thing. It leads me to wonder then,
you said, so your father died so that could be filled in you?
Now I see where you're going with this. I think. Maybe. Potentially. Okay, yeah. So if that was taken by him and then filled that, does that mean I have time?
I don't know. Like I said, I didn't even know any of this was possible. This is all high level. So high level.
Nonsense, I think is what it is. Yeah, well, if that's the case, I feel like I really need to go talk to Dad and figure out how that would work.
Especially if he still exists on some level.
Okay.
Wow. My brain hurts.
You have been listening to the Playing Games with Strangers podcast, featuring the voices of John Haryu, Celeste Mora, Dave Clements, Josiah Crandall, J.S. Earls, Catherine Cherwinski, and Steve MacDonald. The theme music was written and performed by Steve Arthur, used with permission. Find more of his music on Facebook or wherever you purchase music digitally. Please review this podcast wherever you download it from to help other podcasters find our podcast and join our community. And once again, thank you for listening.